Welcome to episode 11 of Fonecallz.
We're doing it.
I am Vincent Degatano.
I'm Aaron Frank.
And I am Ian Sansavera.
Hello?
Ian, thank you for being with us.
Dude,
thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me on. You know, I've been listening from afar, and I've been quietly DMing you on Instagram, giving you shit for not inviting me on the show, and here we are. We're finally here.
We're doing it, damn it.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
It's exciting.
We could discuss things that we probably couldn't with a lot of other guests, which is like our childhood growing up, because we've known each other since like middle school, and you were like such a huge part of FND, like from right at the beginning, you know?
Thanks, man.
I thought like maybe we'd start there and just like go down the timeline as like things moved on.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready to do it. I'm going to have to rack my brain. That was a long time ago.
What were some of the first sketches that we shot?
I remember Cookie Time.
Cookie Mania.
Mania, Jesus Christ.
gosh,
Sorry.
dude,
Cookie I already screwed it up. I remember Cookie Mania. I wasn't there when you filmed it, but I very distinctly remember coming over to your house like the next day and seeing the fake blood stains on your kitchen island. And then you were like, we shot a thing. And I was like, I remember like the very first like moments of those.
We covered so we shot most of the sketches at my parents' house growing up, and we covered that house in fake blood.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. In fact, when here's a funny story. When we did Tasty Treat, which is the Klondike one, when Vinny beats me with a baseball bat in the kitchen, there's a shot like looking up at him, and there's just like a geyser of blood that shoots up on Vinny's face. Dude, that hit my whole ceiling. You can't tell in the video, but it's just a blood spray, like 1,000 little speckles, big drops all up the white ceiling. And I knew my parents would kill me. So that night before they noticed, like we're like eating dinner in the kitchen, and I'm like looking at the ceiling, like, oh my gosh, they somehow don't see it yet. But I knew I had to fix it fast. So that night I would like go down and I used whiteout and I painted out every single drop on the ceiling.
That's insane. I mean, let's give a shout out to your parents for sure, because we did so much dumb shit at your house when we were growing up, and they seem to be okay with it for a majority of the time. So, yes, shout out from family.
For the most part.
For the
Blood
most part.
stains in my carpet in the bedroom.
I feel like I remember your parents making comments later like about it, like,
oh, when they would say, yo, you have to shoot all of it here.
yeah, just like the carpet, we gotta get that cleaned to replace. Like it just, there was like a moment where it got real, like they're homeowners, and it's like, you know, where for us it was just like fun, and then for them it was like, this is dollar signs. This is a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a problem.
And especially because all of our early stuff relied so much on blood that, you know, even from Cookie Mania, like you mentioned, Ian, it was just taking a water bottle full of blood and just squirting it with every hit all over the place. And that stuff stained.
It was not easy to get out of things. But yeah, that's the very first memory I have of like the beginnings of FND Films was seeing the bloodstains on your island. And then after that, man, dude, I have so many memories of just like, so for those of you that don't know, I turned out in life to be an editor. Like I got into post-production. Editing was the thing that I really wanted to do. And Aaron was the one, I think initially, who like really started getting me into it. And you were using that stupid ass like Pinnacle video studio or something.
Pinnacle Studio, yeah.
And I remember you like showing me the transitions, and I still like, it's burned into my memory of like the A and the B and like seeing all these transitions. You were like, dude, you just drop it in the middle of this clip and like, there it is. And we were,
cheesy old 3D, like your video, you know, comes out and it's on a cube and it rotates around and then it sets back in. It was the corniest stuff. But to us back then, I was like, this is amazing.
It was like 2002 or something. It was early on, like before it was one notch above a Star Wipe, which is why I thought it was awesome, you know?
Yeah.
We immediately, with these tools at our disposal, we immediately wrote $1 million mob film.
The Hit. Do you remember
that,
The
Ian?
Hit, Ian?
No.
The movie that was never made?
No, there was a few of them that were never made. And every once in a while
tons.
I'll get really excited because you'll like text me a picture of like a DV tape that has some like really cryptic thing on it. And you're like, I found some shit. But then if we never see it, like What was that one that we made with like all of our friends in high school? The one that was like the Sum 41 music was the thing. What was that one?
It was the frat house or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a parody of like Real World or whatever, but it was a bunch of frat guys living together, and it was beyond stupid. But
did that ever get put anywhere? Did you ever put that as like a special feature on a DVD at one point?
No, it's like buried in the archives of mini DV tapes somewhere.
It's really crazy now, like, you know, starting the Discord and seeing people flood in and like people going all the way back to those, like people being fans of FND Films from 2002 and like people finding the DVDs in bargain bins at Walmart and stuff. It's literally insane. And
yeah, they're out there now.
Because when I tell people the story and like somebody somewhere will bring up Grillz and then I have to explain like FND, and it was really wild. Like when you explained it in an elevator pitch, it's like, yeah, we kind of started making movies on the internet before it was like cool to do it. I have so many memories
before
of
it was like a thing that you did.
Yeah.
Because when we started, we didn't have a website. We started even before YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, it was like right around YouTube. I think YouTube launched 2005?
Yeah.
And I think our first sketch that we made was in 2005. And so to us, Newgrounds was actually the portal that we used, which, you know, we knew that it was for Flash animation, but it was the only place that we're thinking like, we got to get this out somehow. So I like learned Flash so I could put our movies into a Flash file and upload them. And for the most part, they were received well, but a lot of comments were like, this is for animation. Don't post this shit here. I was like, okay, but nothing else exists. But Ian, I don't know if you remember us doing this, but we would just send our movies over Instant Messenger to friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Like we would make like terribly small size, like cropped videos and, you know, send over like our 2 megabyte files.
Yep.
Do you guys think this is funny?
Can you tell us if this is funny? What do you
Is this
think?
good?
Like that's all we had.
Oh man, what was your AIM username?
I
Pink Tux.
changed it. My first, I had 3 of them. Oh, I forgot about that one.
Pink cigarette.
No, my first one was Da Bomb AF.
Yes, Da Bomb AF. That's right. I remember
And
that.
I remember coming up with that with my dad. Like he was signing me up for it, and he was like, "Okay, what do you want your username to be?" Da Bomb AF.
At the time, was AF known as like as fuck? I feel like that's a more recent.
Well,
thing.
no,
that
it
was
was
way
it was
before.
for Aaron Frog.
Well, I know it's your initials, but at the time, was AF
No,
like
dude.
equated to being like as fuck, dude? Like that
No,
was like
not
you were
at
so
all.
far ahead of the times. It's insane.
I know. I'm a trendsetter.
I was running track, and at the time, I was like, "I'm just too fast for you," and I spelled it all stupid.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
You had the numbers in there.
yeah, just JUS, not a T.
What was yours then?
I think I had 2. I had one. I think it was Dago 50/50.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
50/50
remember.
was because 50/50 was like that drink. It was like Sprite knockoff. And I just liked 50/50s. So and also because I was like, I'm half. It's like my dad's Italian, my mom isn't, so I'm like half Italian, so it's like 50/50. And then I think I changed it to like Vinny the King. Like I don't know why I did that, but I thought it was like cool.
After some of the early videos, we all took interactive media together in high school, and that's what really helped us because we had like the time then, even in school, to like think, goof off, have cameras, shoot stuff.
Aaron, well, what is interactive media?
Interactive media is a course that Twinsburg High School had, where you would essentially do the morning announcements. You know, we were taught how to make a reporter package like you would see on the news. And it was kind of funny because you were supposed to do real stories like that were happening within, you know, the high school, but there's only so much like actually cool, noteworthy stuff that is happening. So
yeah, there's not a
like,
lot.
Hey, go cover the prom. What do they do? The prom.
We did
and
such
dress up.
stupid stuff, man. We were like, the parking lot's getting repaved, so the marching band is homeless for 2 weeks. Like that was like the top stories, like the parking lot getting
Topics to
redone.
cover.
My favorite part of that class was getting the camera, which was the ultimate hall pass. And you could just
Nobody
walk around.
said
you could
anything.
leave.
You could leave the school, go to McDonald's, or like in the theater, we go up to like the second row, and there'd be like, I think there'd be like some class going on. We would just sit up there and just like talk. And I'd have one of my Otis, I think was it Otis Spunkmeyer double chocolate chip muffins, and I would just sit up there and eat it just quietly and just sit up there and not do anything.
Didn't you guys film the milk challenge with Dan Oliver during school time? Like you just like grabbed a couple gallons of milk, grabbed a camera from the media department, and just like, we're going to go see how much milk we can chug.
It was Dan's idea, and I kind of can't believe
but
we
it was
were
during
allowed to do
school. It was like during the day.
It was, and we walked out to the front lawn, and Dan just had these two huge things of milk,
and he had
this
his little
tiny Dairy Queen T-shirt on, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Dan Oliver. This is the milk challenge." And then we just sat there, and he chugged it until it just projectiled out of him.
Wait, how did the milk challenge? What did the milk challenge go viral on? Was it on YouTube? What platform was there that it was viral?
No, I think it was. I think they did it on Jackass. I could be wrong, but I think it was something like that. It was a TV show or something.
I think Jackass did it originally.
The original YouTubers.
Yeah,
yeah. And Dan saw that and was like, "We're gonna do that at school." And so,
how far did he make it? How much milk did he?
Well,
chug?
I think I could be wrong. I think the challenge is like,
did he drink the first quart and then butt chug the second quart?
He made it through the first gallon and then started on his second one and got like
he got 2 half gallons
or half gallons.
So the challenge is
a gallon of milk in under an hour or something, right?
Yeah, that's it. And he made it through the first half, I think.
Yep. And then
it was like he was starting on the second. He was like, "I don't think I could do this." Yeah.
But yeah, interactive media. If you had a camera in your hand at Twinsburg High School, literally nobody said anything to you. And Aaron, Vinny, and I were like all in the same class, which was probably an oversight at the time. It's so funny though, because they really did teach you. Like I remember for show choir stuff, we would shoot this event called North Coast, and we were doing like same day edits. Like we would go and shoot something, run it up, like put the tape in the DV player, digitize it into Avid, do a quick edit, and then like rush it back down to show it at the same time. It's really crazy, like how true to form that ended up being in the real world. Like when you keep going down that path of just like deadlines and doing things quickly, and like how much you actually, I learned a lot in that class, mainly to never ever use Avid for any reason whatsoever. But I learned a lot of other valuable stuff too.
I was wondering if we were going to start flaming Avid.
Of course we are. Good Lord.
Avid, I remember our teacher, Mr. Curtley, he had like those computers built, like they were built for Avid, and they crashed every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
They sucked.
I remember.
And we would have the huge decks, remember, with the screens, and we would have to digitize the tapes because back then you shot the tape, not digital like we have it so good now.
Yeah.
You kids don't know how good you have it. You don't even know.
It's all digital, right on your phone, right in your pocket.
You just have to take the film out and you have to etch your image into each single frame with a safety pin. And that's how movies were made.
That's when like a gigabyte was a large file. I remember we were like, an entire gig? Holy mother.
Yeah, that's when we were shooting entirely interlaced footage and we didn't have the perspective to know just how crappy it looked until now. You look back and you're like, what are all these lines?
Yeah.
Sometimes I watch old files and I remember, Aaron, you'd always be like, we got to do it in the best quality so it preserves over time. And I was always like, dude, this is fine. It doesn't fucking matter. And like, it's crazy how like a video from like 10 years ago, it's like, this is dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. I mean, the technology curve like progressed so rapidly though after those days. If you look at,
I mean, it still is. I mean, a year passes and Red's like, check out our 12K cameras. Check out our, it's like, what's next?
Doesn't that shit not matter? Does it not, like, what would you, what is truly overkill? Like, would you be shooting stuff in 8K and it's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I've done 8K projects. And what's funny is that like, you have these people that really care about production and they're like, oh, I want to use these Fujinon Premista lenses and a red Monstro. We're going to shoot it in 8K. It's going to be raw. It's going to be insane. Each shot is 1.5 terabytes. And it's like, that's cool. But then the client's like, I don't know, deliver in 1080, I guess. And you're like, fuck. Like there's only so much like downsampling you can do before it's just like so marginal that it doesn't even matter. 4K to 1080 is like, you can tell that it was shot slightly higher quality, but then as soon as you go 8K to 1080, you can't tell the difference between 8K to 1080 and 4K to 1080. It's like Nobody even cares. And most people are going to watch the thing while sitting on their toilet taking a shit anyway, like half paying attention. It's crazy the amount of time.
Technology advances, then where like the screens are getting smaller, and
yeah,
it's like, why are we shooting? So 1080 is like so sufficient for like how 95% of people consume content now on their phones.
Yeah.
But for when you blow it up, it does matter.
But it's Hollywood, baby.
Eventually-
You got to go overkill.
You need the lens. We need the special lens for when they put the contacts in our eyes and it maps onto the. We're shooting this in AR. This is going to be an AR ad. It's going to map onto the world. So we need to put the concave lens on the camera.
Yeah, in the metaverse as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one project in particular that we should cover while we're talking high school before we jump to the later years of our time. Actually, two I want to cover because there were two big pieces of F&D history that Ian was a part of, and the first one's a pretty fun story. So we should discuss the Grillz incident.
The incident.
For people unfamiliar, Nelly's song Grillz came out, and it was a big hit. And we were like, all right, well, we're going to set a green screen up in my garage, and we're going to do like a stupid music video for it. So we do it, and we record it, and we throw some crappy JPEG cities behind us. And
Dude, keying stuff was a shit back then. Like
we felt
we
like
could go
all-stars.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Like when we figured that out, it was wild.
Game over, yeah, at that point.
Which was then when we wrote Vertex Theory,
and
which we can also talk about later.
What's funny is that, like, I remember setting up the green screen in your garage. We didn't even have lights. We just used natural light coming into your garage to light the green screen.
Yeah.
Like, if you did that today, like, I'm surprised we actually got the result that we did shooting it the way that we shot it.
Yeah, it turned out.
Yeah.
Long story short, we make this music video. When did we decide that we were going to, like, sneak it onto the announcements?
I remember very vaguely having a conversation of like, well, who do we show this to before we put it out online? And we were like, well, do we just like put it out on YouTube, or do we like do a showing or something? And maybe we could put it on the announcements. Cause at the time it was our junior year and nobody was monitoring what we were doing in interactive media, like 0 people. And so I think we were like, oh, this is a platform for us to show the entire school this thing that we were proud of, you know, like we weren't thinking in terms of like adults or like what people would think about it. We were just like, we made this funny music video to this song. Yeah. And we wanted to show it to people.
So Dan, who did the milk challenge, he was like usually the one that was like pushing the boundaries of the class. He was like always doing stuff to kind of cross the line. So the morning that we were going to sneak Grillz onto the announcements, I went up to Dan and I was like, Dan, I had the VHS. And I was like, Dan, we're going to put this on. And Dan was like, yep, count me out of that one. And that's when I forgot about that. That's when I should have known this is not a good idea. But Dan had the foresight. He was like, yeah, no, I don't want any part of that.
Wow. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So THS, like our whole high school had a TV in every classroom. And the room that we would play them from was in the back of the library. And it was like the server room, just tons of servers and cords and everything. And there was like a master deck. And forever, because there had been no incidents, our teacher was just like allowed the students to take, you know, the master copy of the news down and play it because nobody had done anything wrong before. So we did that the morning of. What was it? You, me, Vinny, was Brett there?
Bungie. I feel like Bungie was there. Yeah.
Wait, Ian, were you in the room with us too?
Yeah.
But Matt wasn't in school. Oh, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Our 5th compadre who was like in the video, I tell him the morning of, like, I'm going to play this because he hadn't seen it done yet. I was like, we're going to play it at school. We're going to sneak it on. He doesn't even show up. He like plays hooky that day. So Matt wasn't even there for when it, I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
That was like such a big part of like why we were going to, anyways. I remember the whole news played. We played the whole tape and then we put the Grillz bit on. And Grillz is a long song.
Yeah. It's like a little over 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
I thought it was over
like
4.
5.
Is it
I thought it was
really?
about 5 minutes, yeah.
Is it that long? That's crazy.
4 to 5.
Yeah, it's longer. And the whole thing played.
Because the TV in the interactive media room happened to not be working.
And I believe the principal called him while it was playing and was like, hey, are you watching the announcements right now? And he's like, oh, our TV's broken. And he's like, you should watch what's happening right now. And so then he went into another room and saw, and then marched down. And by the time he got to the library,
he later explained it to us like it was like a Zolly effect, where it was like,
like he added
like,
up,
and he
oh my
knew,
God.
like, because he became aware of like all the like there were like little clues and like things that all of a sudden like made sense to him.
Yeah.
Oh, like probably like all of us wanting to go down and play the tape instead of
Some shit
normally
like
just
that.
one of us.
Yeah.
So we ended up playing the whole thing, and meanwhile, he's locked out of the room, and as soon as it's done, I notice that he's locked out. So he is
Banging on
let's just say
There's a tiny window in the
furious.
door. Yeah, there's a tiny window
let's
in the
just
door.
say I could just tell he is madder than hell. And we open it up, and he goes right for the master deck, takes out the tape, and slams it on the ground so hard, the VHS tape disintegrates. Like, dude, I don't think there was a piece of the tape left bigger than a quarter. It was gone.
Yeah.
It was honestly really impressive. And later, I remember Curtly, after things calmed down, he even remarked on that. He was like, man, that was pretty cool, like how that shattered. Because it blew up. And
Yep, the famous quote.
I remember turning and leaving, like basically running out of the room because of how mad he was and how scared I was. I was like shaking in my little 16-year-old sneakers.
So I remember we were walking back, and Bungie was walking in front of us, and Steve Jaworski ran up to like, because when we were walking back, people were like outside the classrooms cheering.
Yep.
Like, but we were like, we had like white faces.
We were
like, we were like
panicked.
scared. I remember Steve went up to give Bungie a hug, and Bungie just
Like,
shoved
yep.
him to the ground like
Yep.
as hard as he fucking could. And Steve was like, "What the fuck did I do?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went and hid in our history teacher's, like the back of his classroom for like 2 periods in a row. Lally was like, "You gonna leave?" And I was like, "I'm not ready yet, bro." Like I was just sitting in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Got called down to.
I ducked Curtly the rest of the day. I
did too. But
show
I
my
stayed in
face.
school until didn't they call us on the announcements or something?
I remember they wrote us up for like insubordination, something like sexual harassment.
Yeah.
They
there was something
wrote
random
that
in there.
down.
Yeah.
And I remember like my dad was like, "Absolutely not. That can't be on your record."
Yeah.
And so I remember I think all of our parents got like formed an alliance and like called and were like, can we talk about this? And then
Yeah, that was one of the more ridiculous things they tried to charge
Yeah.
us on.
Yeah.
who was this? I forget who it was. One of our friends, like just another student there, like called into the news and was like, because after everyone found out we got suspended, called the news and was like, "You're not gonna believe this. I got a hot story for you."
Before I know it, I was getting a call from the reporter at Channel 3. She wanted an interview, and I'm like telling my dad this. Meanwhile, I just got like out of school suspension for 3 days, and he's like, "Probably not best you talk to the news, Aaron." And I'm like, "Okay." So so then we just let them do the story without us, which is also we uploaded to the YouTube page. But yeah, that was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I remember I was raking leaves.
I was there.
My dad-
I came over.
Yeah, you came over. And my dad was like, "If you're gonna be home, you do some yard work."
And I was
then
like,
called him,
I'll help you, Vin.
I was like, "Can we go to we went to Steak and Shake?"
Yeah.
I
And you were
called him
like,
up. I was like, "Dad, can we go to Steak and Shake?"
it was funny because it was like the Thursday. Yeah, we got suspended on a Wednesday, and like the next day, Vinny called me, and he's like, "I gotta rake the leaves," and I was like, "I'll come help. I got nothing to do." Rode my
that was
bike to
cool.
Vinny's.
I think
man.
I was just trapped in my house. I don't think my parents were keen on me leaving. But they also didn't know. I don't think my parents or I knew that it was going to blow up as bad as it did, because I think I told them a night or two before when I had the video done. I was like, "I think I want to play this in the announcements." And they were like, "Are you allowed to do that?" And I was kind of like, "Probably not." And like we kind of laughed it off, but I didn't get the impression that they were like, "Don't, Aaron." And so I was like, maybe I'm gonna.
My mom was furious with me until she saw the news broadcast and like how like jovial and like silly it was, and then she was like calling all of her friends. She was like, "Did you see Ian on the news? He got suspended for that shit. Isn't that hilarious?" And then she was fine with it. And I have a question too, Aaron. So like at the time, I know that the website was being hosted on BraveNet, which at the time you had to pay for bandwidth. So anybody who goes to your site, you actually like have to pay for that person's traffic.
Yeah.
Whatever ended up happening with like the outrageous amount of traffic to the website?
Yeah, our bandwidth exploded like in 2006. levels, whatever it might have been, who knows. But because we were hosting the video on our site and it got so many pings, it just like overloaded us. But I contacted the company and I just said, we had some news exposure and things blew up. Like, can we have like a slap on the wrist? And they were like, it's okay. And like forgave us.
Wow.
But I remember being like, oh, we're going to be on the hook for this. And this is probably going to cost a lot. But it wasn't the case.
So
they were
funny.
cool about it.
Oh, wait, shoot. What else was I was going to say one other thing on it. And now I'm spacing.
Free the Grillz Boys shirts. Matt,
that
Matt
was
coming
it.
to school the next day dressed in
his
full
outfit.
cosplay.
So Matt, that's what I was gonna say. Matt was always one to want to play hooky, and so when he got wind that we got suspended, he wanted to like antagonize, and so he wears his full getup that he wore in the Grillz video to school, like his whole costume. And
What happened? Did they?
They didn't do
didn't
anything
do
about it. They
anything.
were like, whatever. Like, you're
Yeah.
not. What do you think? We're gonna send you home? And he did. And they were
Yeah,
like,
he was
"No."
like trying to get suspended with us or something.
Then our school, like our classmates put together this whole thing where they had like Grillz t-shirts made as we were suspended, and a ton, like hundreds of kids got these like white shirts with pink Grillz letters printed on the front of them. Kind of an amazing turnaround. I think they did it within like 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
And they all wore them to school.
He was selling them out of the trunk of his car in the morning, and people were running up to him and buying t-shirts, wearing them at school, and then certain teachers started kicking kids out of their classes for wearing the shirts.
isn't it funny? Like looking back on it all now, like how like it just seems so stupid that such a big deal was made out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just us being fucking teenagers, like, you know?
And then shortly after we did Grillz, we went on a trip to California with Ian's uncle and went to Laguna Beach, and that's where we shot Magic Mentos. And when we shot that and I put it together, like I had the edit on my computer, I like didn't like it. And I showed it to my dad because I was like, I don't really, and he was like, this is great. Like this, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to post it. Like, I don't know if it's that good. And he was like, kind of like, what are you talking about? Clearly, I was just like, I did not see, like, I think I got a little in my head about it, which I've done on some projects we've done together. But I'm glad I saw through that.
I kind of remember at the time, like us arguing about whether or not we even wanted to shoot it in the first place. Because it was like part
Really?
of us, like, yeah, like we were like kind of trying to enjoy the vacation. And then you guys shot that like super weird, like worst movie ever sketch
The
at
best worst.
or the best worst movie ever.
That's right.
And we were just like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And I remember like Mentos, there being something weird in the air about like not wanting to do it for some reason.
Yeah, and it was all very, like, we didn't even have a tripod, did we? Because we were only, that's
No.
why there's only ever two of us in the shot at once.
Yeah, because the other person was holding the camera. Yeah.
I just now remember that. And all the stunts we would set up and we would just run them a few times over until we were like looking in the viewfinder. I remember having that little viewfinder and it was so bright that day.
Yeah.
And just like looking at the tiny little screen and being like, I think we got it. Like looking at these hits, like the drop kick. How are we supposed to tell on a screen that big? Like
Yeah.
if it actually looked good. We
Sound
just kind of
effects.
got lucky.
Sound
Yeah.
effects help everything.
Sound effects helped. And yeah, there was no ND filters at the time. It was just like everything's kind of overexposed. Like it's fine. It's fine. Internet history.
And then we hired the local 237
Mhm.
stunt union guys to come out
Yeah.
to do the infamous backflip.
So the whole backflip was rigged on wires. There was a green screen. We had a whole crew pulling me up. It was very professional.
yeah.
So a lot of people have questions about the flip.
We shot it in 60, just
Yeah,
in
we
case we wanted to slow it down in post.
and I remember we must have flipped you up that thing. We went over our rate we went an hour over the guy's original agreed upon rate.
Yeah. And we
doing
didn't
like 9-10 takes with you, and then we ended up using the first take.
Yeah. That part of the story is true. The stunt coordinators is not true. But the first take is true. So weirdly enough, a lot of people ask me about this stupid flip. So at the time, I think we were still
but it's nice.
we were juniors in high school, right?
nice flip.
It was a nice. Ian, say it's a nice flip.
It's a nice flip. It was a pretty good flip. Yeah, I think we were like juniors or seniors in high school, and at the time, outside of like doing the film stuff, I was swimming and diving. And like my junior year was the height of my diving career, I guess. Like I made it pretty far in state and like I was doing really well that year. And so I had been like training how to do standing back tucks and just like gainers and flips and shit, literally like multiple times a week. And so when we got to the beach, I don't even remember how it came up. I was like, I think I can just run and do a backflip and like make it look like you really hit the shit out of me.
It was exactly that. It was like there was no planning. It was just like, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's cool. Like there was no setup. It was just kind of like set the camera up and let's see.
Yeah, and I was like, the sand is soft enough to like break my fall, and as long as I commit to like landing on my face, it's gonna look good. And yeah, we did 5 or 6 takes or whatever. On the last take, I remember I landed with my knee too high up, and I like knocked the wind out of myself, and I got like really dizzy. And I was like, I don't think we can do another take. Yeah, I do. That sucks.
And we were like, I think because I was behind the camera because Aaron was punching. I don't know. I must have said like, maybe we got. I don't know. Maybe we need to do one more.
Yeah, I think I remember being mad at you, Vin. Like, how do you not know? Like, we've done this 6 times. I think we got it.
Yeah, and then we used the first take of it.
Isn't that always what happens?
Isn't that like Clint Eastwood's claim to fame as a director? Like, he very rarely will run a second take of things.
Well, I don't know about early on in his career, but I've heard that his later stuff, yes, he does. He's just like, we got it. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah,
done.
I've heard.
He's just old and tired. He's like, I got a nap.
I don't got time for 5 takes.
I have my nappy in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Mentos. Yeah, that was fun.
That was junior year, right? That we were making those. And then senior year, we started talking about colleges, and we all landed on Columbia. I think we all knew that we wanted to go into the arts, like somehow.
Ian, did you visit? Because I remember Aaron and I visited Brandon Rizzo like a year before.
I went with you, and he was at East State. And then we were all like, this place seems pretty cool. It's like not too far away from Cleveland, but it's far enough away to where like our parents aren't going to come visit, or if we need to get back quickly.
Did we go in the winter? I have a memory of like getting off the bus and trying to navigate to the dorm and just being freezing cold.
Yeah, we took the mega bus there, and it was like 10 blocks away from where Rizzo was staying.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember walking up to? Was this that trip we were walking up to Rizzo's building? And, you know, like 2 East 8th has got like 20 something floor, 14 or 20 floors, and a fucking coffee mug just like slams into the ground like 15 feet away from us. And we were like, what the fuck?
Might have been closer. Yeah, somebody dropped it out of the window. Like, probably could have killed one of us.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was fucking wild.
That was our first soiree. Oh my god, it's raining so... Do you hear that?
Yeah, that's
rain?
Yeah. And my window's closed.
I wish he opened your blinds and there's a pterodactyl tapping on the...
Hello, Ian. I've come for you.
I've seen Grillz before. How'd you do the backflip in Mentos? So yeah, we decided we want to go to Columbia, and then the first year we had to live in the dorms, and the rest is history. Thanks for tuning in to Fonecallz, episode 11.
And goodbye.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what we should talk about.
I was just going to say, let's fast forward to like, Aaron and I kept working together on stuff. You moved to California, and then you ended up like having your own adventure out here until you ended up at like, you had a long stint at in e-gaming.
Yeah. Finished college, graduated, moved out to LA in 2010. And then from there, I kind of found myself initially producing music and DJing for a while. Like I went on tour and I was DJing with my buddy Ant, producing music under Them Lost Boys. We were making like dubstep.
What famous DJs did you rub shoulders with during your DJing? Because you guys got following.
Yeah, we got pretty big just through like some people that we knew. The craziest like LA DJ story I have is on 4th of July, I'm hanging out with this girl, and she's like, hey, let's go to this 4th of July party at my friend's house. It's going to be pretty cool. So we take an Uber up into the Hollywood Hills, and it's like way, way up into the hills. And we get there, and there's like a security gate, and then a second gate, and then a third gate. And like multiple people were checking our names on the list. And we finally get there, and I'm like, whose house is this? And it was Notch's house, the guy who invented Minecraft. And
yeah, I remember you talking about this.
Dude, it's the crazy. It's a $75 million mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And we walk in through the front door, and there's like, I don't know, there's like 50 or 60 people there when we first got there. And Skrillex is DJing in the living room at this dude's house to like 50 people. And I was so just like blown away by what was happening. And this was right around the time he had played out one of our remixes at a couple shows. And so when he was done DJing, I went up to him and I was like, hey man, you played our Ludacris remix. I'm part of them Lost Boys. He was like, it's a dope remix. And that was my only interaction with him. And I was like, sick, like, and that was the thing. And then, yeah, Zed was there. And like, I met weirdly enough.
What's well, go ahead. I'll have a question afterwards.
I was going to parlay into the esports thing. So that night at Notch's house, I met Zed. And then like weirdly through Team Liquid, I got paired up with him again. And then him and I played games together for a while. And I helped him like set up his stream setup at his house. And he's super into Valorant. He has like gun skins in Valorant and like has done music for them or something at this point. He's super into it. But yeah, the DJ thing was cool. Then I got a job working for some like UFC offshoot of Spike TV, like filming stuff with like Randy Couture and like all these random MMA fighters. And then this company Quest Nutrition saw my work and then they hired me to make like protein bar videos. Quest Nutrition sponsored Team Liquid and then they picked me up from there. And then I spent 7 years at Team Liquid in the esports world producing content. I was the director of post-production for Team Liquid for almost 7 years. And now I'm working with a company that does machine learning and AI video editing software.
Cool story, bro. Can I ask my question now?
Yes.
Remember I had a question before all that?
I was trying to finish a thought, but yeah, go ahead.
Is there like, what's like the unwritten, I feel like there's got to be an unwritten DJ code. Like Skrillex took your guys' song and like used it in Higgs mixes. So take his shit and just shave your head and say you're Skrillex. Like what is going on here? It seems like the Wild West.
I mean, DJs play other producers' tracks in their sets all the time.
Yeah, that seems you need more. So you're saying more copyright. We need more lawyers in this.
So you're
business.
saying at the time,
wait.
Vinny,
Let me
you're being such a effing square. You're embarrassing me right now. You don't even get the music scene.
This is what killed. I'm sorry, it wasn't Napster. I just need to get. This is what killed the music industry. Is that DJs?
I need to get some clarity. So you're saying at the time I should have shaved my head and gone around gallivanting as Skrillex in order to...
You could have. It would have been legal in your guys' world.
Push my agenda, and then hopes that at the end of it, he would have respect for me for doing such a thing. That's the plan?
You don't fucking need his respect. You need money. You need money, baby. Come on.
Yeah. L.A.
That's
LA
why
was
Vinny's
cool.
made it so far in this biz, Ian. He gets it.
Yeah.
I'm
just in awe of you, Vinny.
Sorry. Okay, that was dumb. That was stupid. I get. Well, I mean that's a lot you covered in that kind of bridge. Fast forward.
Yeah, I fast forwarded through it.
With Ian, your new company is machine learning, editing tools. Can you explain more about it and how it's soon going to make us all obsolete as video editors?
Yeah, that's the common misconception is that AI is going to remove the need for editors to edit, and that's completely false.
You say that now, dude.
So look, I always pitch it this way, right? Like if you hire a contractor to build a house and he starts talking to you about some crazy automatic nail gun that just came out from Black & Decker, and it's like, what, you wouldn't give a shit. And that's how editing with AI is for us. We're like, dude, there's a single click rotoscope tool that allows you to like rotoscope anybody out in like 10 seconds. People are like, I don't give a shit. Just fucking make the video. I'll get into the company in a second, but we released this tool called InPainting, where essentially you have a brush, you brush over something in video, and it just removes it from the video. It's like a machine learning model that tracks it, and you can remove anything from video. And like even if the camera's moving,
the highlight reel,
it's wild.
You posted of that,
Yeah,
you're just like literally scribbling over like logos on people's shirts, and they're just gone.
Yep.
Like you could even do like people in the background.
Yep.
And
it's just it tracks and it removes it and it replaces it with like some algorithmic interpretation of like what it thinks the background based on. I don't even know. It's black magic.
If I film myself for an hour and send that in, can you erase my painful memories?
Absolutely, Ben. I'm going to erase the shaving the side of my head and be Skrillex from the podcast.
I'm actually curious though. What I feel like they had to have. I mean, you're saying you can do anything, but like there's got to be a limit, right? Like, have they tested?
Well, so it's in working beta right now, and so let me pivot to the company. So the reason I left Team Liquid is this company. It's called Runway ML. They said, we want you to do a video. We have this really cool technology that we think you'll like, and it was the release of their single click rotoscope tool. So I brought in a video of like a dancer doing an air flare, like a break dancer. And I was like, okay, let's see how good this thing actually is. And legitimately within 10 clicks, like I had a perfect rotoscope and it took 30 seconds. And I was really honestly impressed. And so then I started using this program a lot, and I wrote like 2 or 3 pages worth of notes for the CEO of the company. And I was like, hey, you guys should do all of this because it's going to make your platform like infinitely better, which is like PNG sequences, alpha exports, like matte options, like a whole bunch of nerdy editor shit. And I sent it to him. And then like 6 months go by and I talked to him again and he was like, are you happy at your job? And I was like, well, I'm actually kind of looking right now for something new. And he said, well, can we hire you at Runway? Because we think that you have really good insight on how it should work as a video editing tool. Like right now, the company has a lot of engineers and really talented coders and all these people, but like we need somebody who understands editing. And so they brought me in for that. And it's so the company is building an AI and machine learning video editing platform that's entirely web-based. It's not a physical program that exists on your computer. It's all done on the web. And so the beauty of this is that once internet speeds get faster, which they're going to, you'll be able to natively and fluidly edit video footage that doesn't even exist on your computer. It's all going to be done in the cloud.
Is that like kind of like the basis of Google Stadia?
Yeah, there's other
or like any like cloud gaming that is like it's running on their servers and just wirelessly streaming.
Correct.
So you get the result, and hopefully you have low enough latency and ping. Like,
yeah.
to, like make. It
I got
seamless.
dial-up internet. Can I do it on dial-up?
Well, so as internet speeds scale, that's going to allow more people to do crazier things on a much lower budget, right? So you have some kid in Indonesia who has a Chromebook, right, that can't handle the level of VFX that you would need to do any sort of rotoscoping, but now he has the tools at his disposal via the internet that he could in-paint out somebody from a shot or remove objects from a shot or rotoscope something out. And that kid is going to be able to do more complex and higher level visual effects via the internet. And so as long as his internet connection is stable, something like Runway is going to solve for this. Like you don't need an RTX 3090 Founders Edition, multiple graphics cards, crazy GPU, CPU. You won't need any of that stuff because all of it's going to be done offsite in some server warehouse in Virginia or whatever. So it's really interesting. It's not so Vinny, you asked about the limitations of it. There's a lot of limitations right now, but it's part of my job to work with the engineering team to like break through those and try to problem solve how to get it to be better and how to function really well. Because the tools themselves are very impressive, but like as a whole, it's not there yet. But in a year from now, I think it would be a very different conversation that we're having because the curve on this stuff is just like very steep. So it's really cool.
That's awesome.
It's very different than esports and gaming, which I kind of fell into on accident.
Something that we haven't covered that's like such a huge part of like your portfolio is like your YouTube channel. I have relied heavily on your teachings. In fact, Vinny, I was just on a call last night with Ian because I couldn't figure something out with like color space on my edit for my job, and I like called him. I was like, "Dude, you've got to freaking help me with this," and he solved it. It was solved.
Funny enough, I'm actually going to make that a tutorial as my next video because
do it, yeah.
Because you're not the first person to ask, and I feel like it's probably necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen where I was like trying to learn skills for the job I started, and I'm like just searching, and then it's like your videos being recommended, and I'm like, oh, cool. It's Ian teaching me.
Yeah, so
I know this guy.
It originally came around. We were working with an influencer at Quest. His name is John Glaude. He went by Obese to Beast, and he lost like 200
his
something
name's
pounds.
John Glaude?
John Glaude.
What a name.
Glaude, yeah. John Glaude Van Damme. Yeah, he lost like 200 something pounds, and he was documenting his weight loss journey, and he was editing all of his own videos. And we were working at Quest together, and he would just sit next to me in my editing bay with his laptop and be like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And he was asking me all these questions, and he had started his own YouTube channel. And so at the end of like the day, he was like, you should honestly just like start your own YouTube channel. Because if I'm curious about this, I'm sure other people are too. And as a joke, I called it Learn How to Edit Stuff. And my first few videos were really, really like aggressively annoying. Like, and I even realized that. I was trying to do something different in the tutorial space, which was kind of plagued by people very monotone, explaining something slowly, never showing their face. There was no entertainment value to tutorials. And so
you
I
threw on a pizza shirt.
Yeah. And I wanted
you were like,
well, I wanted to be entertaining, and I didn't start taking it. I didn't really take it seriously at first. I would get really high and film these obnoxious tutorials. Like I look back at some of them and I'm just like, I cringe because they're so just like not who I am, but I was like trying to be something that I wasn't. But anyways, when I hit 10K subs, I was like, okay, this is like 10,000 fucking people want to like hear what I have to say about editing. Like I should probably start taking this more seriously. And then I started to not smoke weed and not do stupid shit and like do more of a regular cadence where like every Sunday I was uploading a video, every single Sunday. And I was asking people in my community what they wanted to see. The first 2 tutorials that blew up huge were how to edit like Zach King, that guy who does like amazing editing tricks he got really famous on Vine. And I'm sure you've seen his videos before.
Did people request that? Did people say like, could do videos teaching me how to do like this? Or you just thought that would be popular?
I have been a huge fan of his for a really long time. And he had this color change shirt video where he just like flicked his shirt and it changed colors. And I was like, oh, he just like ran this through DaVinci Resolve and like just changed the hue on his shirt and did a mask. And so I was like, I'm just going to do that. And then that video blew up. And then the shooting star meme came around and like everyone was doing the shooting star meme. And people started spamming my channel. I'm like, do a shooting star meme tutorial, do it. And then after that is when I think my channel went from like 10 or 20K subs to like over 100 after that video. Just like people wanted to learn how to do stupid internet meme shit, like how to edit it. I try to do a mix of like real world, like this is actually valuable to you if you're a video editor and trying to do something important. And also like, here's how you do this stupid, like Super Smash Brothers, everybody's here meme.
The meme tutorials are smart, man. That's a really smart angle that I wouldn't have thought of because there's like such a demand for it now. Like they're just growing like in popularity like every day. It's just, you know, more and more people creating, probably wanting to do that stuff. So I think that's like a really, really, really good call. And it shows, you know, that's why like your channel has blown up, you know, how big it has and it's still growing. So it's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all born out of like a true real passion for this stuff. Like when I'm not editing, I'm thinking about editing or I'm doing more editing, you know, like it's just something that I fell into and I've like really, really enjoyed doing.
How's your spine?
It's good. I sit in a bucket seat. So
nice.
All day I'm actually like leaned back at a 45-degree angle. So my back stays straight while I'm
like
working.
checking my posture right now. I don't have a back to this chair. I'm like, oh my God.
That's brutal.
Dude, my back is shit, man.
I remember watching like some tutorial video and like the editor in it, he was like some like 55-year-old dude and he just had like this like hump in his back and you were just like, you like said something and I was like, oh shit, that's where we're all headed if we don't figure this out.
I'm already there, man.
Sitting's the new smoking, dude.
Anytime, I do have a standing desk now though. And I'll say that like I'm really glad that I invested, but even my posture, I think it's just from years of sitting and editing, you know, like FND stuff or work stuff that I've got like an ever-present slouch, you know, like my back just has like a slight, and every time I see something on posture, I'm like, huh, and then I go to correct it and I'm like, oh shit, this is how I should have been sitting? Like, this is not how I sit.
Yeah.
And that's when I know it's a problem.
Yep.
How are you guys' hemorrhoids? You guys got hemorrhoid issues?
Strong.
Like as in
strong hemorrhoids?
I've got.
Like, well, hold on. What does that mean? Like they're there to stay?
I'll let you imagine what that means, Vinny.
Okay. It's just like a little. It's like flexing. It's like. Eh.
Well, what about you guys? We've talked about my things for a long time. What about you?
We did just release an update video on our YouTube describing what we're working on, what we've been doing. Something that for years we have done so poorly is update people. I used personal time away from YouTube to like disconnect. It was almost like if we weren't making videos and uploading to our YouTube channel and I felt like I needed to make updates for people to tell them what was going on like constantly, I didn't feel like I ever got that break. And so oftentimes if we go months without uploading, it's just me time, you know? And like, if there's just a span of time and people are like, where are the dailies? Where are the uploads? Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, hey, sorry. I'm not like, those other YouTubers are superhumans as far as I'm concerned that can like just constantly just, you know, like, oh, here's 5 videos in a week.
It's such
There's
a grind.
Just no way.
It's such a grind, man.
I think also like, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit, but I'll just like say it again real quick that like, you know, the work we put out is not, I mean, I guess the dailies are like vlogs, but they were like, you know, caricatures of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so unless we were doing something like that, we weren't like vlogging in like a real way. Like I didn't care to put updates up on our lives unless there was like something like of substance there to talk about.
It's very hard because you feel like the need, because you feel like, oh, I'm losing I'm losing the audience. I'm losing touch with like people that like care about what's going on.
Which I think honestly can be an unhealthy relationship with it, where you feel like if you're not telling, like if people don't know you exist, like do I exist? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like that can lead to a very unhealthy place. And
For me, when it started like when my channel specifically started blowing up, and like literally Adobe was like, hey, speak at Adobe Max, come do this stuff. We want to work with you, like all this stuff. As soon as it started dipping into the like, I need to really focus on this as a job instead of I just want to do this because I'm passionate about it. That's to me when like I'll go months without uploading to my channel because I hit this point where I'm like, it's starting to dip into this weird place that I don't want it to go. And I don't ever want my channel to not be based in like my passion for this thing that I've decided to do with my entire fucking life. And I feel like most YouTubers get to that point. It like there's a threshold of it's now a business and not something to do for fun. And that just opens up the floodgates to so much more criticism and so much more expectations that are unrealistic. It just like, it kind of gets toxic at some point and you have to know how to manage it really well.
Yeah, the people that manage it well, I mean, kudos to them because it's hard. I mean, you have that internal pressure and then you have the external, you know, from like people that are just like, because I'm not to say that people who watch your videos, be it fans or just regular viewers, don't care about you, but they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. You know, they're not going through the grind to post stuff. So to them, you know, it's just like, hey, feed me the content. You know, like I'm hungry, like I want stuff. Yeah. Even for the podcast, you know, we set out to do one of these a week. It's a lot of work. And if you want to support us, go to patreon.com/Fonecallz. But it's like you just have to you have to do it because you love doing it, because you're right. The moment it turns into like, oh, I gotta do this every week and I hate it, then it's like, whoa, you gotta take a step back.
Yeah. I feel like from what I've listened to of the podcasts already, of the episodes that are available, it seems like you guys are having a good time. And I know that Aaron, you moved back across the country and Vinny's still over here. So like the times that you guys actually get to connect are probably few and far between, I would imagine. So as long as it's based in some sort of like, you actually feel like you're having fun doing it, that's kind of the most important thing.
I was just going to say the whole reason we started it was so I could talk to my sweet boy.
Yep. That was it, dude. I mean, it's phone calls. It's just like, you know, staying up late, got your PJs on.
Hey, baby.
You're laying on your belly and your feet are up like that. And you're just, feet are kicking, you know?
What'd you do today?
Nothing. What'd you do?
I just chilled.
Me too. I chilled too.
So funny enough, both of you have kind of found yourselves in the video editing world like a majority of the time. Did you ever think that you'd be here, boys?
No. I didn't think I would ever like, it would be like a source of like steady income was from like the skills I learned as an editor. You know, I always thought it was like it was kind of like a secondary skill to be like to acting and writing, but it turned out to be the most useful as far as that goes.
I don't think I ever imagined the career. Like, I guess I could have imagined myself as an editor eventually, but it wouldn't have been like my first chosen. You know, obviously I love directing. I mean, we all probably have like things, exact quirky, like little minutia, like, oh, I want to be doing that thing, but I'm happy to be doing something creative where, you know, I can like play with colors and fonts and yay. So it's like, it's nice, but also it just it keeps the creative wheels turning, which I think is a perk that some people like. It's not affordable to them to, or they can't afford to do, you know, like you can't, if you're doing some like high stress job or like working at a restaurant or something, it's like you don't have time to be thinking about sketches or creating.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, again, I know we've plugged him before, but that's why you got to listen to Gary Vee. If you work a long, stressful job and you come home at the end of the day and you're too tired to start your business, throw Gary Vee on, brew a pot of coffee.
All right,
this is the second time we plugged him, and I don't even listen to him.
Hold on, I have a bone to pick with Gary Vee because after a long, stressful day, and I turn on some Gary Vee, he's like, "NFTs are the future. NFTs." So, what does that mean for my business, Vinny? I'm trying to start a Skrillex impersonator DJ company, and Gary Vee is yelling in my ear about NFTs.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm sure he's, you know, capitalizing on what's popular right now, and it seems very on brand for Gary Vee to be spouting off about NFTs, but I don't know, man. Did you guys win any money? You guys bet big on the Super Bowl? Did you chicken wings?
I only watched like a quarter of it and didn't eat anything very fun. Actually, I did make cauliflower tacos like with Julianne, and I sent it to the group chat with all the guys, and everybody's sending their smoked meats. And I'm like, I had cauliflower tacos. And Zach was like, heck your cauliflower tacos. Get out of here.
Those look pretty good.
They were. They had they were cooked in spices and they had cheese on them and stuff. You got to try something different.
I didn't even watch it. I did not even watch the Super Bowl.
You were at a yard sale, right? Or something?
I was at a friend's yard sale / party.
All right, I did want to bring this back around and ask a question. So for people listening that want to get into the post realm, whether that be editing, animation, what's your advice?
My advice is that you can learn more on YouTube than you can anywhere else. So find good, and I'm not saying that because I have a channel. You literally can learn anything. If I want to learn how to retile a bathroom, I can figure out how on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you did that, Aaron, when you were doing work on your own house. So go to YouTube, learn how to do some shit. Start making stuff for yourself. Literally start small, make some animations, make some motion graphics, whatever, grab some stock footage, edit it together in a really, cool and unique way. Put your portfolio up on Fiverr, start doing jobs for no money, literally $10 an hour, $15 an hour. I'll edit your video, whatever, because that's going to give you the ammunition that you need to put more stuff on your portfolio and get more clients. Even if a client is some random person who's going to pay you $10 an hour to edit their wedding video, do it anyway, because then that $10 an hour turns into 20, into 30, into 40, into 50, and you start to get more clients and you start to become less available, which makes you more, valuable to people out there. And you just have to start small. A lot of people get really frustrated because some big budget project isn't knocking on their door right away and they're just starting and they need this thing to really push them over the edge. But it's not the project that's in your portfolio that's going to push you over the edge. It's the creativity that you put inside of your portfolio that's going to continue to get you clients. So
I think that's really good advice. I got reached out to by a young kid who is going through school for he wants to edit, stuff like that. He's trying to build his brand and he just in general had questions on how do you get jobs? And I echoed a lot of your thoughts. I said the hard part is you have to be comfortable making stuff for little to no money when you start, because the pay is not in dollars. It's an experience that you're giving yourself to do that. And so while I don't think you're saying hey, take on a huge project that's you're gonna be over encumbered and you're gonna drown with it and be stressed, to death. That's not it. But it is hey, go to that coffee shop down the street, ask them if you can film them a free commercial, get access to the shop, make it look perfect. Because at the end of the day, you want two things. You want to give yourself the experience and know how to do it. And also you want to saddle yourself with some good content that looks professional or as professional as you can get it. Think outside the box. Oh, maybe you only do have your house to shoot in. Shoot a fake Red Bull commercial or something, with some cool lights on a colored wall or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to start and stop with oh, I need a huge, photography studio.
The thing that people get caught up on is needing all the best equipment or the right lights or whatever. But really, honest to God, and it sounds so cheesy to say it, your creativity is more valuable to the overall strength of your career than any of the gear that you have. Because I can give a shit filmmaker a red and he's going to come back and make a shit product. But I can give a really amazing filmmaker an iPhone and he's going to blow that red out of the water or whatever, because the creativity is the thing that really pushes you over the edge. And for editors, so many people ask me, do a tutorial on how to edit Flying Kitty. And Flying Kitty is this fucking YouTube poop memer who takes Billy Mays OxyClean commercials and re-edits the audio and does some really weird After Effects shit and puts different mouths on them and does all this stuff. And his style is so unique. And people are teach me how to edit Flying Kitty. It's okay, well, I can teach you how to rearrange an audio waveform to make somebody sound like they're saying something different. I can teach you how to rotoscope somebody. I can teach you how to superimpose a mouth on somebody else. But what I can't teach you is how to put it all together like he does. And that's what makes his videos so good, is the way that his brain works and how he takes all of these individual elements, which you can learn how to do in a few hours on YouTube, but you need to be the one to put them together in a really unique and interesting way to make something that either hasn't been done before or iterating on something that's been done, but you're doing it better.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
Right.
good point. Damn. Inspiration dump right there. Get motivated. Go
Follow me.
change the world.
Follow
with
me
your
on Instagram
creativity.
at Gary V.
Well, I think that's like we covered so much stuff. I just Ian, maybe plug your YouTube, plug your stuff once more.
Yeah. YouTube.com/learn how to edit stuff. I do primarily Adobe After Effects and Premiere tutorials. There's a few DaVinci Resolve ones thrown in there. I'm going to start doing some Blender tutorials because I've been super into it. If you want to follow my random 3D Blender shit on Instagram, it's Blender and Coffee with underscores in between. I've been just doing weird abstract like things in Blender and putting them on Instagram.
Your Blender shit is pretty cool. I saw I was on your Instagram page. I was like, oh damn. It was cool because I remember some of the earlier ones on the Instagram. I was like, those are the ones you were sending me.
Yeah.
And then I just saw like, oh damn, he's getting good at this.
Thanks. Yeah. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I told myself I was going to learn Blender, and then it got really intense, and then I had a baby, and then I didn't do anything creative for 7 months, 8 months. And now that he's like slightly more self-sustainable, I'm starting to do it again.
Yeah, dude, just put him in a room with a donut. He's good. Kids are easy after they hit a certain point.
But yeah, that's where you can find me and my opinions.
Awesome, dude. Well, on
Thanks for having me
behalf
on.
of Fonecallz, yeah, dude, thank you for joining us. It was like awesome, very trip down memory lane, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's so many things we didn't cover too, like the fact that your
I
neighbors
know,
have seen me
we gotta
naked
have
multiple times when we were shooting sketches. The feud that your mom and my mom got in about your dog eating my retainer that one time.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of stuff to cover.
It's a whole lifetime of friendship that we have.
There's going to be a part 2 and 3 and more.
We'll see. If my episode does terrible in the ratings, I probably won't be back.
Ian, we don't care how it does. Remember, this is Fonecallz. This is, hey, how's your week?
Oh yeah, the feet. Hey.
Chilling.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like what you heard,
You could go to our Patreon right now and give us some money, and we would love it. But if you don't, that's fine too. Join our Discord.
anyways, yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 It's Fonecallz.